Live from the Built Ford Tough Studio, Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti, it's Boomer and Gio on the Fan, simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network, and wherever you are on the free Odyssey app. Good Monday morning. This has been such a fun football season around here. Unexpected wins, great storylines, you're proud of your team. But yesterday with the Jets and Giants, that flipped in a big way. Doesn't mean it's all over. There's football to be played, but yesterday was gross. The Detroit Lions go into MetLife and smack around the Giants, and the New York Jets lost one of the most heartbreaking games they have lost in a regular season in a very long time, and they've got a major issue on their hands with the quarterback. This guy played what could have been the worst regular season football game or playoff football game I have ever seen a quarterback play. It's got to be top 5. If it's not the worst, it's top 5, it's top 3. And before the game, he's cocky, saying that everybody out of this building has no idea what they're talking about. Then he plays like that, and then after the game, when he's asked point blank, do you feel like you let the defense down? He goes, nope, no, I didn't at all. This is going to be a major issue going forward. And people are going to be screaming for Mike White. They're going to be screaming for the Jets to bring in another quarterback because yesterday was that bad. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. I think you pretty much hit all the nails right on the proverbial head. There's no question about that. And next week, the Jets are at home against the Bears. So I think the defense will be a little bit easier to play against because the Bears are in the middle of a rebuild and everything else. And even Marcus Mariota was able to put up like 27 points yesterday. So I would just say this, that I think most Jet fans out there understand exactly what they saw yesterday. And I think you put it perfectly, that it was just a really poor performance. There were missed open receivers. There were dropped interceptions. This game could have been a hell of a lot worse than it turned out to be. And we'll get to the punt return in a second. But really, honestly, we have a Gen Z quarterback. Yeah. And a Gen Z quarterback that has no awareness of what is going on around him and how it looks and what it feels like and what the Jet fan feels like and I'm sure he understands this morning, because I'm sure whatever social media platform he was reading, if he was reading anything, was destroying him. And destroying him, yes, about his play. I understand all that, and rightfully so. It was bad. It was about as bad as it gets. He was about as nervous as you could possibly be. And I know that he was trying to play the game without making a mistake, without turning the ball over, not doing what he did the last time he played the New England Patriots. That's bad as it is. But the reaction after the game, as you pointed out, and the way that it's so cavalier about the way it was said, makes me really, truly wonder if he understands what that position means in the NFL and how he has to understand it. I mean, I watched last night Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes go toe-to-toe with each other. I mean, just go toe-to-toe each other, just like gunslingers, whipping the ball all over the place. The game looked completely different than the game that we watched yesterday between the Patriots and the Jets. And there is half of the team that played really well yesterday's game. The defense was awesome.
Yeah, it's going to keep them in every game. I mean, they're a top 5 defense right now. It's going to keep them in every game.
So we talked about going into the game, don't make the mistake. And I think that's the way he played. And I do think that their offensive line got their asses handed to them. Mm-hmm. And he's unfortunately, he has to bear the brunt of that. But in the plays where he should have made, and you could see some of these plays where his feet are not set, where he's very nervous, where the ball's sailing on him, where there's something going on within him where he's just not comfortable. And I don't know if that's because of the pressure. I don't know if that's the pressure, the physical pressure of the defensive line of the Patriots, or just the overall pressure of playing against Belichick in Gillette Stadium.
Well, this has been going on for 2 years now. These little throws. I mean, the one to Berrios that he sails right over his head. We've been seeing that now for years, whether he's sailing those throws or he's throwing them right into the ground. When there is a guy wide open and he's either throwing a screen pass or a pass just right down the line of scrimmage to a wide receiver screen of some sort, he can't make that throw. And that, to me, is mental, and that has not been able to change all these games either. So that is very, very alarming.
So what that tells me is that is the pressure getting to him.
Yeah.
Because he could probably do it every day in practice, They see it every day in practice. They see the arm strength. They see the accuracy. They see what he's doing, and they're pretty excited about what they see on the practice field. But he's unable to take it from the practice field to the game field, and there's only one reason for that. And that reason is that, he's too nervous. He's too amped up. He's not relaxed. He doesn't feel comfortable. And that's when you start doing things that you don't normally do. And I that's a big part of what's going on right here, because the physical stuff is all there. It's now become a mental thing. And, whether it be the interceptions in the previous game against the Patriots, because he didn't play that bad against the Buffalo Bills. Now, he wasn't asked to do as much, but he kept the chains moving. He completed some nice passes, and you could see that he got into somewhat of a rhythm and was somewhat confident. Yesterday, as the game wore on, the confidence was going. It was waning as the game was going on. It was almost like he was in the twilight zone and was unable to handle all the negativity that was happening around him. Now, part of that was the offensive line, and part of it was how good the defense of the Patriots is and how good that defense is when it comes to stunting and twisting. And, when you have a patchwork offensive line, sometimes those guys don't handle those types of plays as well as you would like. But still, that does not mean that the quarterback can't complete easy passes. And so there's a reason why he's not doing that. And I would say it's because he's nervous, he's overwhelmed, and he is just not seeing it and not feeling comfortable back there for whatever reason. And yeah, the elements have something to do with it. I played in games like this too, but, after the game, all he had to say was like, I need to play better. I need to be the leader of this team. I just need to make my defensive players understand that I can help them win games. And he didn't say anything like that.
No.
And that's the Gen Z just not aware of who he is, what is going on, what the expectations are, and he is just oblivious to that.
I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, how could he be oblivious to it? I can't, to play that poorly, to come off the last New England game where he played that poorly, and all the talk going into this game was about how he needed to be better than that last game because he cost him that game with those horrible throws. And then he comes into this game and he plays worse. By the way, don't talk to me about the turnovers, because there were 2 clear dropped interceptions that should have been caught that could have made this game a blowout. And you had missed field goals by the Patriots as well. I mean, they moved the ball. Jets couldn't move the ball at all. 2 yards in the second half. So, I mean, this is an issue. And Rob Saleh, after the game, he calls the offense dog bleep. Garrett Wilson said this bleep is sorry. So now you've got all these guys talking about how bad the offense is. And then Rob Saleh could say all he wants, but this is not one particular player or this or that. When you're the quarterback and you've got the head coach calling your offense dog crap and you have your best wide receiver saying that the offense is sorry, that lands at the feet of this quarterback. And I'm telling you, if he's got that type of attitude before and after the game, I don't think that necessarily endears himself to his teammates either. So this is going to be interesting to watch. And I was screaming. You could say that I'm a crazy, stupid fan who doesn't know anything about football, whatever. But I'm watching this game. Get him out of the game. I mean, give the fourth quarter to Mike White. I don't care about where he was drafted. It was that bad. Give somebody else a shot. You had a chance to be in first place at the end of the day. I don't care about Zach Wilson's development at that point. This team is good enough to win the division, or at least was going into the game, and that quarterback wasn't giving you a shot. And now we're just going to ride with this guy. Rob Saleh's not even the last thing on my mind is making a quarterback change. Well, it better be the first thing on your mind, because that guy's not good enough. Not right now, and I'm not sure if he'll ever be. And the attitude is, as you mentioned, is a huge problem. I mean, you were a guy that you've told me when you first got in the league, you had that type of thing going on too.
Yes.
But
you're unaware of what's going on around you.
But you probably never acted like that when you had 2 yards in the second half and scored 3 points, did you?
No, I tried to keep everything even keel as best I could during the week. I mean, and it is part of the quarterback's responsibility to stand up there and be the face of the franchise and say the right things, even though under trying circumstances, the right things are going to fall on deaf ears. But you can't say the wrong thing. you can't just say, no, I didn't go up to my defense, or I don't feel bad for my defense because they played their asses off today. Or even with the exception of the one punt return at the end of the game, my special teams played their asses off today. I need to be better because, in this league, it is a quarterback-driven league. Everybody knows that. And everybody knows that, all these teams that are going to make it to the playoffs are going to have quarterbacks that are going to be able to, withstand what Zach had to go through yesterday and come out the other end and be better for it, or be able to win a game like that. You can say whatever you want about Mac Jones. His team won the game. Maybe not in large part, to what he did, but he did complete
threw
a
for
lot
over
of passes.
200 yards at least, 250 yards.
And the biggest problem with him is he was holding onto the ball and he was taking sacks.
Right. So every time they got down there, the Jets would make some sort of play to, knock him back.
There would either be a sack, there'd be a holding call,
Right.
there'd be some sort of part of it was self-inflicted, but the other part, goes to the Jets and especially their defensive line. Oh my God, they were unbelievable.
But this is what I'm saying about the quarterback change. Is nobody expected the Jets, even themselves, would be in this position at this point in the season to go up to New England, win a game, and then find themselves in first place. Nobody expected that. But that's where they are. And if this season were going the other way and the record were flipped and it was about trying to find out about Zach Wilson, and that's what this season was about, is we need to know what we have in Zach Wilson, then fine, let him play, get his ass kicked, try to figure it out. But, you're in a position now where, the league is as wide open as it's ever been. Crazy stuff happens every single week we don't expect. And if you've got someone who is not getting the job done at this level, who is clearly holding your team back, let's think about making that change. Let's at least think about it.
I will tell you that those conversations, I guarantee you, will go on today. And they'll go on today for a couple of reasons. One, and I'm not talking about by us. I'm talking about by the Jets.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because of the number one, it's the performance, it's the bad throws, it's the missed throws, it's the nervousness. They see him on the sideline during the game. So you can actually talk to a guy and you can see whether or not he has that faraway stare at his eye or he's locked in.
Yeah. And,
it's obviously yesterday Zach had that faraway stare in his eye. So they see him on the sideline. They're talking to him. They get the sense of, they probably tell him, come on, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. And nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. He's getting hit. He's getting run. He's pushed. He's pushed out of the pocket, whatever. He's missing wide open throws. They have got to sit down and decide whether or not he needs a break, whether it be a mental break or whatever. But what compounds the problem is the conversation after the game. And the reason that is so important is because everybody sees that. Every teammate sees it. Every coach sees it. Every teammate's family member sees it. All the teammates around the league who have buddies playing in the league see it. And everybody is talking to that team. Individually, those players are hearing, what is up with your quarterback, dude? What's up with your quarterback? What's the problem? And you could say whatever you want about supporting the first-round draft pick. You got to support the second overall pick in the draft. You got to believe in him. We see him in practice every day. He knows what he's doing. But at the end of the day, those other guys in that locker room know whether or not he's the guy or can get it done. And we saw glimpses of Elijah Moore yesterday. You saw a couple plays where he made some plays. And you're like, why hasn't he been making more plays like this all year long? Well, where has this guy been? It's because their passing game sucks. And their passing game is about as bad as there is in the NFL right now.
Yeah, no, there's no two ways about it.
For that. There's a number of reasons that go into it because there's 11 guys on the field. But I have to tell you, the quarterback is the guy that generates all of it. It all comes from that position. That's why they're making $40 million a year, because that guy is the most important guy. And if that guy can't even simply answer tough questions after the game in a press conference and say things like he said yesterday that make me feel like he has no clue as to what is going on around him is bizarre to me.
It's 2022 NFL. It is completely unacceptable to score 3 points and have 77 yards through the air. And that can't happen. That's not NFL level football. It's not. And we've seen some really, really poor football this year, but that can never, will never, has never, that wouldn't get it done back in 1963, much less in 2022. So they have to, whether it's Mike LaFleur changing the scheme, doing different things, going to a different quarterback, I don't know. But this isn't working, and not even a little bit. And the fact that Rob Saleh's like the furthest thing from my mind about changing a quarterback. I mean, that to me is like why are we protecting him on that level? Like this is now. It's the NFL. You're in year 2. You're the number 2 overall pick. Stop with the coddling.
Well, there's going to be one guy that can make the change, and that guy's name is Woody Johnson. If he walks into Joe Douglas's office this morning and says, "I am sick and tired of losing to the New England Patriots. We have just lost our 14th game in a row to the New England Patriots. And you're playing this guy needs to sit down." And it happened in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it happened the right way. I'm not saying that it should happen. I'm just saying that that's the one guy that could walk into somebody's office over there and say, "This guy's not playing this way. I do not want to see that crap on the field again."
Oh, that would be great.
I mean, that's basically what it takes. In the NFL, that the owner has the right to do that. The owner can walk in and say, "This is it. I've had it. This kid doesn't have it." Now, I don't know if Woody is that kind of guy. I don't know if he'll do that.
It hasn't been in the past.
No, he hasn't. He's kind of and I kind of do appreciate the owner letting the guys run the team the way the guys want to run the team. And for the most part, I think we're all happy with what Joe Douglas has done with this team.
Yeah.
Now, we know that he's trying to sign offensive linemen, off the streets. Duvernay Tardif is here now because he knows he's got problems. And you can never have enough offensive linemen, and they are really, really struggling, especially against these good defensive fronts. So now come the Bears this week. It's a game that they have to bounce back. They have to win the game. The season is not over. The same thing can be said for the Giants. They got their asses kicked. They have a very short window now to get on the road to Dallas. We'll get to the Giants, and I know they have a lot of injuries, but neither one of these teams can wallow in their losses now. Somehow they have got to get themselves right and get ready for the next game. I know today sucks for every fan and for every team around here, especially the way that the Jets ended this game yesterday offensively. I would just say that, you got to flush it. It's going to be a long week, but the only way that Zach Wilson is going to be benched is going to be if the owner walks into that general manager's office and says, "I do not want to see that at home next week."
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.